3 months ago, my husband Lou died in an accident. Just as I was preparing to end my life out of grief, I received a hotel bill. The consumer was Lou, my deceased husband. Chapter 1. Over 3 months ago, my husband Lou died in an accident. I was in unbearable pain, wishing I could die with him. For a whole 100 days, I felt like a walking corpse, unable to find any reason to go on living. Just as I had settled our parents and children and was preparing to end my life, I unexpectedly received a text message confirming a hotel reservation made using Lou's identity. Hello, esteemed guest Lou, you have stayed at the Crystal Hotel for 3 days, and an 80% discount coupon has been sent to your registered email address. We look forward to your next visit. When I received this message, I was about to jump from the Crystal Hotel's building, ending it all. My husband Lou was already dead, lost in an accident. He never returned from saving some reckless kids who had gone swimming in the river. I never even found his body. At first glance, my first thought upon seeing the message was, someone is playing a cruel joke on me. My husband Lou was the most honest man, why would he be a hotel member? Looking at the sender, it was the official hotel number. Shortly after, another message arrived. Hello, esteemed guest Lou, your spending at the Crystal Hotel has reached the threshold, and your membership has been upgraded. You will have the opportunity to upgrade your room type for free. I glanced at the tall building. Fine, I'll die later, I need to figure out what's going on. Coming down from the rooftop, the elevator doors slowly closed in front of me. In that moment, I suddenly saw Lou's familiar face. He was about to lean down to kiss the woman in his arms. I rushed forward like a madwoman, but couldn't squeeze into the elevator, watching the doors close in front of me. The elevator's numbers kept changing, stopping at the 6th floor. I quickly went down the emergency exit, rushing over. The elevator was already empty, they had already left. I stood in place, trembling all over. It couldn't be, I must have been mistaken just now. Lou is dead, how could he be here? But I couldn't shake off the feeling, wandering the 6th floor corridor, looking for any trace of Lou. All the room doors were tightly shut, no sound could be heard. Of course, in broad daylight, who would be booking a room so carelessly? Just as I was about to turn and leave, I suddenly heard a strange sound. It was the kind of sound that shouldn't be heard during the day. I felt so embarrassed. I had barely taken 2 steps when a man inside asked, "What's wrong?" I was stunned, that voice was my husband Lou's. Chapter 2. I crouched like a thief, eavesdropping on the door. Clearly, there were 2 people inside, that's why I could hear them. Just say one more thing, just one. Let me hear clearly. I was extremely anxious, but no matter how long I waited, that man never spoke again. Finally, when it was quiet inside, I gathered the courage to knock on the door. After a while, a woman opened the door. She was very young and beautiful, her skin as white as snow. She looked at me sideways. "Who are you?" I'm here to see your boyfriend. I stumbled over my words. "Can I just take a look at him?" Saying this, I rushed into the room. The woman screamed, "Are you crazy?" Before I could even see him, I was pushed out by the hotel staff who came running. As the door closed, I saw a hand reach out from the bathroom, waving at the woman, and there was a scar on that person's hand. Lou had a scar on his hand just like that. I didn't have a room key, nor was I a member of this hotel. They treated me like a lunatic and kicked me out, warning me that if I came near their hotel again, they would call the police. I was relentless, bought some bread and water, and waited at the hotel entrance. I didn't believe it, even if they checked in, they would eventually leave, right? After waiting for a day and a night, the woman finally came out. As I got up, I suddenly felt a blow to the back of my head and passed out. When I woke up again, I was already lying at home. My mother was sitting beside me, crying. Seeing me wake up, my mother cried and said, "You can't give up, the child is still so young. Losing the father is already difficult enough. If you also leaving her all alone in this world, what will happen?" My mother's words almost broke me. Yes, my daughter is still so young, how could I give up just like that? The 2 of us hugged and cried in pain. I told my mother, "I think I saw Lou." "How is that possible?" He fell into the river and hasn't been found yet. I really saw him. If the text message was just a coincidence, then there's no way I was knocked out by someone. Someone didn't want me to keep an eye on those two people. Who could it be? Is Lou really still alive? Chapter 3. Lou used to work for a state-owned enterprise. He came from an ordinary family, had average abilities, but one thing stood out: he was very handsome and incredibly kind to me. It was for this reason that I was so devoted to him in the beginning, despite my parents' objections, and insisted on marrying him. After a few years of marriage, he did indeed treat me well as he promised before marriage, and it was the same after we had a child. I used to think that I would continue to be happy like this. In the 3 months since Lou's death, I have been living in a daze, and even the funeral arrangements were taken care of by my in-laws. After calming down, I decided to visit Lou's workplace. When I arrived, Hannah from the finance department told me that Lou's parents had already settled all his wages and taken all the money. I felt puzzled. Didn't they take any compensation? Lou, a young laborer, died unexpectedly, and state-owned enterprises like this usually provide some compensation. Hannah said, "We offered, but they refused." This was surprising. Lou's parents were known for being money-minded, always looking for a bargain in their daily lives. Now, their son had died unexpectedly, and they refused the compensation offered by the company? I was extremely puzzled, so I immediately went to Lou's family home. When they saw me, my mother-in-law was very surprised. "Vivian, why are you here?" "I came to see Mom and Dad. Are you both doing okay these days?" My mother-in-law immediately put on a sorrowful expression. "Just living like this, the person is gone, life must go on." There were 2 plates of fruits on the coffee table. One of them was a plate of golden cherries that even made me feel a bit distressed to buy. In the past, my in-laws would never buy such expensive fruits. I went to Lou's workplace. "Why didn't you ask them for the compensation they offered? Since he's gone, shouldn't you take some money for yourselves? You and Dad are not young anymore, you should save money for your old age." My mother-in-law replied, "We are already at this age, what do we need money for?" She said this while avoiding eye contact, feeling guilty. Just as I sat down for a while, my father-in-law returned. What surprised me even more was that he was holding a set of fishing gear, and I glanced at the brand, Shimano. Fishing equipment that costs 4 figures for just the fishing rod. Impressive. I couldn't sit there any longer, so I left as if fleeing back home. Chapter 4. Now, everything in front of me is a mess, and I can't find a direction. If Lou isn't dead, then why hasn't he come back to find me? I immediately thought of the woman in the hotel. After much contemplation, at my wit's end, I decided to have my in-laws followed. It's not the best plan, but right now, aside from this method, I really can't think of any other way. I spent money, hired someone, and began to take stock of my assets. Upon careful examination, I discovered that in the 5 or 6 years of marriage, I had transferred no less than 3 to 4 million in properties and cash to Lou and his parents. In the past, when my relationship with Lou was strong, these sums were affordable for me, so I didn't even notice. Even so, my in-laws had never proactively bought such expensive fruits in those years, let alone imported fishing gear. My hands were shaking uncontrollably. Opening the cabinet, I searched for every trace Lou had left behind. Finally, I found a spare key. It was the key to Lou's dormitory at work. He had given it to me a long time ago, but I hadn't taken it seriously and just casually stuffed it into the cabinet. The dormitory over there was where Lou would occasionally sleep during night shifts. Even during night shifts, Lou would keep in touch with me through voice messages until I rested. Clutching the key tightly, I followed the address he had told me from memory. Room 207, this was it. Listening carefully inside the room and hearing no sound, I mustered up the courage and quietly opened the door. The moment the key successfully turned, I was ecstatic. Great! The lock hadn't been changed. The dormitory was clean and tidy, with a single bed against the wall, a shelf, and a desk beside it. There was a piece of clothing hanging behind the door, and upon closer inspection, it was Lou's. The clothes were just as clean, as if someone had worn them yesterday. But Lou had been gone for 3 months, why was the company still keeping his dormitory? I walked into the bathroom, and tears immediately streamed down my face. The arrangement here was exactly like Lou's habits, as if he were still alive. Suddenly, one lipstick tube stung my eyes. Picking it up, it was Armani. Twisting it open, it had been used, with half the tube left. Beside it was a set of couples' toothbrushes. Even the toothbrushes were a couple's set, one blue, one red. On the other shelf hung a pair of women's panties, a beautiful light blue with lace trim. I wanted to deny that all of this had nothing to do with Lou, but how could I explain the clothes at the door? My husband was living with another woman in a place I didn't know about. I was speechless with heartache, slowly squatting down, clutching my chest. Just as tears welled up, I suddenly heard footsteps outside the door. Chapter 5. I quickly crawled under the bed, holding my breath. The door creaked, someone was coming in. The footsteps were light, and from my angle, I could see her walking around in a pair of bright red high heels, humming a tune. She seemed to be in a good mood. After tidying up the room, she sat on the bed and began making a phone call. Yes, right above me. Her voice was sweet and coquettish. Hello, when are you coming over? Oh, you have to wait until it's dark? You don't trust booking a hotel room and sneaking around here, what's the deal? I've already informed the factory, I have the key to this building, no one else will come here, what are you so worried about? All right, I'll wait for you, make sure to come before 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Glancing at my watch, fortunately, it had luminous hands, so I could see clearly. It was not even 7 in the evening. I could wait. After a few hours passed, I finally heard the sound of the woman opening the door. You're here, why did you take so long? I dared not even breathe loudly, listening intently. Didn't I tell you that we should meet less often recently? It was Lou's voice. This one sentence was incredibly clear, like a sharp knife piercing my heart. I had listened for these years, it was impossible to forget, and definitely not a mistake. Lou was truly still alive. Their two pairs of shoes were close together, they were kissing, and I was in such pain that I wished I could disappear on the spot. Right in front of my eyes. I bit my finger tightly, not letting out a sound, tears and snot mixing together, looking disheveled. I didn't even realize when I had bitten my finger until it bled profusely. I didn't know how long had passed, but they finally stopped. I thought this was the end of the nightmare, but little did I know the nightmare had just begun. Lou lit a cigarette and began talking to the woman. Chapter 6. This isn't over yet, we shouldn't keep meeting here all the time, didn't she go to a hotel last time? What does it matter? You're already a dead man now, your funeral has been held, hee hee. Even if she sees you, she'll probably be scared to death, why worry about it? Didn't you say your wife is a fool who only loves you? Lou chuckled. His laughter mixed with the woman's, making me shiver all over. I'm the fool who only loves him. Well, that's quite ironic. Darling, just wait a little longer, I thought she might commit suicide out of love for me, things would be easier once she's gone. Then, I can get her inheritance from my parents, easily tens of millions. I heard the sound of Lou and her kissing, making me nauseous. We've agreed, once she's gone and the money is ours, you won't have to deal with that money-losing daughter of yours anymore. She wanted to jump off a building, right? We'll make sure that little girl pretends to look for her mom and falls off, a perfect solution. Darling is right. Listening to this, I was consumed with hatred. This man was my husband, whom I loved wholeheartedly. For the sake of money, he even wanted to harm his own daughter. After they lingered for a while, they finally left. I hid under the bed, waiting until everything was quiet before cautiously coming out. I don't know how I managed to get back home. After years of love, it turned out to be a joke. Upon careful reflection, there were signs from the beginning. He had mentioned more than once about going to the highest point of the Le Grand Hotel to enjoy the view and counting stars with me. That's why I wanted to jump off that rooftop, taking with me the dreams we never fulfilled. How ridiculous. How could I die? Never. Chapter 7. To avoid alerting the enemy, I began pretending to be strong, taking my daughter to kindergarten every day, then going to my in-laws' house to keep them company. From buying groceries, cooking, to cleaning, I did everything by myself, just like the image of the good daughter-in-law I had before. Lou's parents couldn't possibly suspect that I already knew everything. Lou's mother, seeing me visit for 2 or 3 days in a row, finally couldn't hold back. "Vivian, are you okay?" "It's nothing, Mom, you're right, people always have to look forward." The word mom made me nauseous, but I held it in. Lou's mother said, "It must be hard for you, deeply in love with Lou, it must be hard to move on, right? After all, you two had a campus romance, your love is deep, I can understand." I asked, "So, are you saying you hope I can't move on?" Lou's mother awkwardly smiled, quickly looking away. After a few days of busyness at Lou's house, I managed to get hold of various documents hidden in the cabinet by my in-laws. This old couple never suspected me, perhaps in their eyes, I was just a fool. 2 properties under their names were bought with my money, even some jewelry, also purchased by me, with the receipts still in my possession. I pocketed all of these and casually changed the password of their safe. I was indeed foolish, not seeing through the true nature of these people after so many years. And they were truly foolish. The safe password was still set by Lou, easily guessed by me. Soon, I hired someone to track my in-laws, and there were results. As expected, Lou was really not dead. His parents were obviously aware, meeting every other day. I saw those lively faces in the photos, my heart twisted. Not only was he not dead, but he was also involved with the daughter of their unit leader. They had been together for several years, starting when I was pregnant. This underground affair was kept quite secret. The leader's daughter's name was Donna. In theory, she came from a good family, had a good job, shouldn't be short of money. But this pampered woman was obsessed with online loans during her university days, loved buying all kinds of luxury goods, and despite her family's wealth, it couldn't match that of the business tycoons. Over the years, Donna was robbing Peter to pay Paul. Living a glamorous life on the surface, but privately struggling to make ends meet. After Lou got together with her, they spent money recklessly, naturally accumulating quite a bit of debt. Where did all this money come from? Of course, from the lovesick fool, me. As long as Lou and I were still husband and wife, as long as I remained devoted, I wouldn't let Lou's parents leave this world empty-handed. They had planned it long ago. Seeing these truths, my tears couldn't stop. Well, since this is the cruel reality, how can I not retaliate properly? Chapter 8. A few days later, I had a car accident, deliberately arranged. I lay in the hospital for a month before recovering. Before this, I had already sent my parents and daughter abroad, so Lou's parents couldn't contact them. Lou's parents came to visit me, but I pretended not to recognize them. I lost my memory in the car accident. Lou's mother was pleasantly surprised. "You're our daughter-in-law, don't you remember?" I said I had a headache and couldn't remember anything before. A daughter-in-law with amnesia was easy to deal with, all alone. They took me back, and soon tricky troubles arose. I didn't remember who they were, so I naturally wouldn't acknowledge the things I had promised to give them before. Whatever I had already given away, I wouldn't take back, but they could forget about getting any share of the other properties. That day, Lawyer Kim came to see me. In front of Lou's parents, I directly said, "I have a husband. Why don't I remember?" Lawyer Kim: "Yes, but your husband had an accident a few months ago." "Oh, an accident. Well, forget it, I don't remember anyway, this money is my personal property, I'm not sharing it with anyone." When I said this, Lou's parents nearly jumped up. "You are our son's wife, how can you take back the property?" Lou's father glared at me as if he wanted to eat me. I said, "I don't remember who my husband is, but isn't this property under my name? Since it's mine, I can choose to give it or not, isn't that my freedom?" Lawyer Kim: "Yes, Vivian, that is your right." "All right, all previous property divisions are void. Oh, by the way, the will is void too, I haven't died yet, why write a will?" Lou's parents were dumbfounded. Seeing their shocked expressions, I felt quite pleased. These 2 old folks, thinking that the agreements I made before the accident would still be valid, and they could enjoy life with their son. No way. Lou's parents, seeing I didn't leave them any property, found a reason to send me away. Just as well, I didn't want to stay there anyway. I returned to my own house. Calculating the time, Lou should be coming to find me soon. 3 days later, a large bouquet of roses appeared at my doorstep. Chapter 9. 99 Roses. This despicable man is really regressing more and more. Back when he was pursuing me, he sent me 199 roses. Now he just halved it without a second thought. The bouquet also had a card that said, "For my beloved." I divided the flowers among my neighbors and threw the card in the trash. For the next 3 days, roses kept arriving at my house, pink, white, red. Honestly, I was starting to feel a bit uneasy. Lou's way of wooing women was really slick, too slick. Sending flowers was useless, I wasn't going to respond. Finally, Lou showed up. The day after receiving roses for 3 days straight, I was sitting alone in a cafe enjoying afternoon tea. A man sat across from me. I glanced over, appearing calm on the surface but shaken inside. It was Lou. This was the first time I had seen him since his unexpected death. The intimate moments we shared in the dormitory was something I heard but didn't see. So it didn't count as seeing him. He was just like before, except much paler and thinner. "Sorry, there's someone here, can you move?" I pretended not to recognize him. Lou carefully examined me, trying to figure out if I really had amnesia. I met his gaze, unflinching. The car accident was real, and to make it seem authentic, I had a large scar on my back now. Even if Lou had someone investigate, there wouldn't be a trace. Lou said, "I feel like I've seen you somewhere." Typical. I rolled my eyes. "Waiter, this man is being a pervert, call the police for me." Lou was kicked out. In our first encounter after the accident, I gave him a good scolding. He was persistent and found out where I lived. "Vivian, you really don't remember me? I don't know you, go away." And so, Lou circled around me like a dog, licking for almost half a month until I reluctantly agreed to add him as a friend. By then, he was convinced I had truly lost my memory. I used to love him so much, how could I treat him this way? If I had known he would come back from the dead, I would have gladly given away all my wealth. But alas, things had changed. He told me he was my husband, and we were deeply in love. I didn't believe him, so he continued to shower me with affection. With limited energy, Lou neglected his new flame, Donna, while focusing on me. Soon enough, I received a threatening text from that woman. "Vivian, keep your hands off my man. You ghostly woman, why didn't the car finish you off?" I showed Lou the message. I saw the panic on his face. "Vivian, let me explain, I don't even know this person." I chuckled, "Is that so? Then call her and curse her out for me." Lou was dumbfounded. "Don't dare? Then forget it, I'm not interested in wishy-washy men like you. Since you still have a girlfriend, you shouldn't be clinging to me all the time." I kicked him out directly. Lou was persistent, begging at the door for a long time before I finally opened it. "Vivian, I'll make the call now, don't be angry." He dialed the number from that text message. I said, "Put it on speaker." Lou panicked, gritted his teeth, and put it on speaker. "Hello, darling, what are you doing?" I heard a sweet voice. It was the woman I heard him being intimate with that day. Lou cursed loudly, "Where did you come from, you bitch? How dare you speak to my wife like that? Are you crazy? Get lost as far as you can." After cursing her out, he hung up the phone. Chapter 10. Because of this good performance, I agreed to let Lou stay with me temporarily. However, he could only sleep on the couch. Lou, as before, got up early every day to cook for me and make me happy. Unfortunately, I never ate the food he made. I felt nauseous. Who knows if he might poison me? Every moment spent under the same roof as this man was extremely agonizing. But it wasn't the right time yet. I had to take back everything I gave away, and this dog of a man had to pay the price he deserved. Wasn't he inseparable from that woman? I wanted to see if, now that they were back living with me, their relationship could still be the same as before. I installed an app on Lou's phone. I could hear all his phone conversations. The day after that woman was cursed at, I heard them having a big fight on the phone. "You called me cheap because of her? Called me a bitch. Lou, are you even a man? How dare you bring that up? If you didn't provoke her with that text first, how would I be forced to make this call? Lou's tone wasn't good either. What if the truth comes out? If she really finds out, all that money in the future will have nothing to do with us. Are you going to give me that money, Donna? The call between them ended on a bad note. A few days later, I received a friend verification message. It was a new number I hadn't seen before, with a profile picture of an internet celebrity, looking very artificial. I guessed it was Donna. Now that Lou was living with me, not having time to meet her every day, she must be going crazy. I smiled and verified it. Since she came to humiliate me, why should I be polite to her? I told Lou that I wanted steak for dinner and a candlelit dinner. Lou was extremely happy. This was the first time in so long that I had shown kindness. He hurried off to buy groceries and busied himself in the kitchen. After all the food was set on the table, I took a few photos and posted them on my social circle. A wonderful evening starting with a heartfelt dinner. Thank you, the man who cooked for me. One of the photos was Lou's back view. He was busy in the kitchen. Sure enough, right after I posted on my social circle, Lou's phone kept ringing incessantly. In the end, since dinner didn't happen, I directly kicked him out, using the excuse that he was too busy. I said, "Go ahead and take your calls properly, busy man." Then I closed the door and turned around, throwing all the food decorations on the table into the trash. Chapter 11. Lou went to the community garden to make a phone call. Once again, I heard their intense argument. I must say, it felt great. Lou scolded her, "Are you crazy? Knowing that I'm currently living with her, you still had to add her as a friend, checking her social circle. What if she finds out? What are you going to do then?" Donna wailed, "Are you treating me right? You haven't even cooked for me. We are a married couple, what's there to apologize for? Stop crying, I'm annoyed by it. See, they were so sweet before, but now they're fighting like crazy." Lou came back, but I didn't open the door for him, letting him freeze outside all night. People are strange creatures, the worse you treat them, the more they stick to you like a dog. I call this being pathetic. I couldn't help it and asked him, "Do you really love me that much?" "Yes, you're all I think about." "Then why didn't you come home to find me after the accident?" "I was also hurt, afraid you'd worry. As soon as I got better, I came back." "Lies, deceitful." I sneered. Soon enough, I overheard a call between Lou and his parents. "You better hurry up," Donna came crying to us. "If you don't get the money from Vivian family soon, she's going to leave. You said being with her would get her father to help you secure a good job, right?" Lou's mom was impatient. "Got it," Lou said, "wait a bit more. Once Vivian trusts me more, I'll take back all the assets under her name." Take back? Laughable, when did it become his? I stopped going home, going out to have fun every day after work. This unexpected move caught Lou off guard. When he found me seated at a bar booth, there were two young, tall, handsome guys beside me. One of them even had his arm around my waist. It was intentional. "Vivian, you didn't come home and ended up here." Lou was shaking with anger. He probably never expected that I would be hugging and cuddling with other men right in front of him. I laughed, "So what? Just having some fun. Don't just stand here, go home and sleep." "Vivian," Lou shouted. I frowned. "Why are you shouting? You claim to be my husband, but I don't remember you. Who knows if you're lying to me, and don't treat me like a fool." Taking a sip of my drink, I told him word by word, "Do I need to explain who Donna is to you?" When Lou heard that name, it was like a thunderbolt struck him. I couldn't be bothered with him, so I continued drinking and dancing, having a great time. My tolerance for alcohol was always good, so I returned home slightly tipsy, finding Lou still sitting on the couch. I pretended not to notice him, turned around, and went into the bedroom. Lou rushed over and knelt in front of me. "Vivian, I've cleared things up with that woman. She had been pestering me before, and I couldn't bear to hurt her, so I kept rejecting her. I didn't expect it would upset you. I'm sorry. I've made it clear with her now. I have a wife, and the only person I love is you." Lou was in tears. If I didn't already know his true colors, I might have been swayed by him. I recorded his words and asked, "Can I send this to Donna?" His face changed completely. "Yes, that's it. My money, the secure job her father gave him. You, a despicable person, want it all?" In the end, he chose my money. Okay. I let him press the send button himself. The recording was sent. I asked him, "Was that voluntary?" Of course, he forced a smile. I saw the veins on his fists bulging at his sides. Chapter 12. Lou and Donna broke up, temporarily at least. The news of his survival spread through our social and professional circles. Everyone came to congratulate me. Lou seemed to have forgotten that he once cheated, conspired against me and our daughter for money, and even played the role of a good husband, asking about my daughter more than once. Unfortunately, I had amnesia and didn't remember having a daughter. Lou wasn't in a rush and could only take it slow. He actively searched for top doctors, hoping for a cure. Finally, the other bait I set down began to work. After breaking up with Lou, Donna couldn't handle the blow and fell deeper into despair. In less than half a month, she accumulated a pile of debts, including the money she borrowed with Lou. Now, they were coming to collect. What these two didn't know was that I had already privately contacted those creditors and unilaterally bought their promissory notes. Now I am the creditor of these two. While putting pressure on them, I also put on a show in front of Lou. In the dead of night, I would always wake up from pain. With this scum around me every day, I felt like I was in hell. The more I enjoyed myself, the more virtuous Lou became. He even earnestly confessed to me more than once, saying that it's okay for me to have fun as long as I still have this home in my heart. Home. It's long gone. To me, this place is a battlefield to drag him down to hell. At a party, I reunited with my high school classmate. His name was Sam. He used to live in another city but returned now due to work relocation. That party was the most relaxed night I've had in months. Later, I had dinner with Sam a few times. Lou found out, and he exploded in anger. However, he didn't dare to truly get angry with me. "Vivian, I know I was wrong before, just give me a chance. Let's not go on like this, I can't take it anymore." "What, you can have an affair within our marriage, but I can't." He grabbed me and tried to kiss me, but I fiercely slapped him. Lou was dumbstruck. "Lou, listen carefully, I don't remember ever loving you, or even getting married to you. The marriage certificate is real, I won't deny that, but I have no feelings for you now. Besides, you cheated on me. Shouldn't I hit you?" I sneered, "Since there are no feelings left anyway, I don't want to break you and Donna up. Let's get the divorce papers when we have some free time." The moment he heard about the divorce, Lou went crazy. "I will never divorce. Then I will have to file for divorce." With a thud, Lou knelt before me again. "Vivian, I really can't be without you. After so many years of our relationship, how can you be so heartless?" I looked at him coldly. "Stop making a scene, pack up your things, and don't waste each other's time." From that day on, I never returned to that house. There wasn't anything important in the house anyway, just some furniture and decorations. Let Lou rummage through them as he pleased. I started to contact Sam frequently. On the surface, I was a bad woman, but in reality, I was only discussing cooperation with Sam. But I couldn't be bothered to explain. What I wanted was for Lou to think I was already with another man, and for emotions to quickly escalate. Chapter 13. Lou found me again. I had just had dinner with Sam, and he was driving me back to the hotel. These days I have been staying in hotels, spending money that I used to be reluctant to spend, now enjoying it to the fullest. Lou laid hands on Sam, but he was no match for Sam and was quickly beaten down. "Vivian, what do you want from me to come back home?" Lou, with a bleeding nose, tears, and snot running down his face. "Oh, go beat up that woman, and I will consider forgiving you. Otherwise, how can I believe in your sincerity, just based on your words?" Lou fell for it. After he left, Sam looked at me deeply. "Why do you have to go to such lengths? Men shouldn't meddle in women's affairs." I couldn't look him in the eye and went straight into the elevator. Soon, I received a video from Lou. In the video, Donna's face was covered in blood, her eyes swollen, kneeling on the ground and crying continuously. I could faintly hear her saying, "Vivian, I'm sorry." "Hey." Lou sent me a voice message. "Are you satisfied now?" I didn't reply. On the other side, my informant investigating gave me new information. No wonder Donna agreed so easily to be beaten by Lou. It turns out she was in deep debt. Lou had borrowed money from his parents to cover her debts, and that's when Donna nodded. What a joke, there are more holes waiting for Lou to fill. But don't even think about using my money. The time to close the net had come, and the night before, I brought a bottle of red wine back. I poured 2 glasses of wine and bought some food. When Lou came back and saw the lavish spread on the table, his eyes lit up, thinking I had softened. I just drank without saying a word. The more I drank, the more sober I became. Lou kept staring at me, reminiscing about our past, trying to evoke my love for him. I asked him, since we are married, give me an honest answer, have you ever betrayed me in any way other than cheating from the time we were in love, got married, to now? This was my final chance for him. As long as Lou admits it, as long as he confesses, I won't press him for the debt. After a peaceful divorce, each went their separate ways. I looked into his eyes, word by word, as a husband, have you ever done anything to betray me other than cheating? For example, trying to harm me and the child just for my premarital property. Lou's eyes flickered, no. I finished my drink, sneering in my heart, oh. Chapter 14. I told Lou, if he wanted to return to the past, he had to return everything I gave him before, or we would just divorce directly. I was firm, even had the lawsuit ready. Spreading the lawsuit in front of him, I looked at Lou's expression with satisfaction. With a direct divorce, Lou would get nothing, except for the few million I gave him before. He would leave empty-handed. The worst part is, the debts he owed outside were far more than this amount. With the lawsuit on one side and the transfer contract on the other, I didn't give Lou much time, directly letting my agent press him for the debt. Under pressure from both sides, he couldn't hold on for long. He chose to play a long game, returning the things I gave him before, proving his sincerity to win me back, and then making me pay off his debts. It's quite a beautiful plan. Lou brought over the property deeds, saying, I am sincere towards you, and now I'm returning your things. Okay. We both signed, completed the transfer procedures, and the house under Lou's parents' names returned to my hands. I couldn't get the cash back, but at least there was this. After finishing these tasks, I disappeared from Lou's world that very day. Just like how he faked his death and disappeared back then. I hid in a hotel room, quietly enjoying the rare peaceful time. Sam came to find me, telling me that Lou was almost going crazy trying to find me. I chuckled, can he not go crazy? He's in a pile of debt, waiting for me to pay it off. Sam, you have changed a lot. People change, you would too in such situations. Sam looked at me deeply. I'm not a fool, it's obvious he's interested in me. But I don't want to get into a relationship again, and it's hard for me to trust any man. I didn't respond to his gaze. About half a month later, I appeared in front of Lou again. In just 2 weeks, he had turned into someone barely different from a beggar on the street. No house, the whole family destitute on the streets, no job, no income, just starving, debt collectors behind him, pressuring him every day. Donna had her parents supporting her. I put the evidence of her collusion with Lou online, and it blew up quickly. It was said that Donna was publicly beaten by her leader father, then locked up at home, and they had to sell a house from their well-off family to clear the debt. Donna's father would help his daughter out, but he wouldn't clean up Lou's mess. I texted Lou to meet me on the rooftop of the Lajing Hotel. When Lou arrived, he was dirty, nothing like the clean and cultured man from before. Vivian. He looked at me with a mix of hatred and fear. Let's sign the divorce papers, I will take care of your debts. I brought the divorce agreement. Oh, and 2 bodyguards. I was timid, didn't dare to be alone with Lou. You deceived me. You made me suffer so much. Lou panted, looking like he was deeply wronged. I looked at him coldly, isn't this normal? Because you also deceived me. Faking your death was fun, wasn't it? You didn't see me die for you, didn't resolve my precious daughter, you must regret it, right? Chapter 15. I successfully saw the shocked expression on Lou's face. You. I haven't lost my memory, but I can't just prosecute you based on your conversations with the other woman. That's the hardest part for me. Currently, it seems Lou's biggest mistake was having an affair. The so-called fake death to deceive me into suicide, as well as causing the accidental death of my daughter, he hadn't managed to accomplish either. I chuckled. Truth be told, I am your creditor. You now have two options: either sign the divorce papers with me and I'll waive your debts, or wait for me to sue for divorce. I have the time to drag it out, but you might not. Lou was practically seething. But I looked into his eyes, feeling immensely satisfied. Why should I believe you? You can choose not to. After all, the choice is in your hands. In the end, Lou did sign. He was always this kind of person, cowardly and cruel, short-sighted and heartless. Why was I so blind to fall for him? Holding the divorce agreement, under the protection of bodyguards, I took Lou to get the divorce certificate. After carefully checking the debt details, I found out that Lou still owed me $80,000. His parents, fearing their only son would go to jail for debt, sold their ancestral home, and even took out their accumulated savings. Now, the three of them were as destitute as can be. With the divorce certificate in hand, I left. Lou called my name from behind. "Vivienne, can I see my daughter?" Daughter. He didn't deserve to see her. Without even looking back, I walked away. Later on, I sporadically heard news about Lou through friends. He couldn't shake off his old habits, racked up debts within a couple of years, couldn't find a decent job, living each day as it came. Lou's parents had given up on him completely, planning to retire to the countryside, but Lou forced them to give him money, leading to a fierce conflict where Lou's mother died at his hands. Lou ended up in jail. That's the end of the story. Now I just want to cut ties with all of this. I sold my properties in the country, took the money, and left this place that broke my heart. I wanted to reunite with my parents and daughter abroad. Perhaps only time can heal all wounds. After spending a few years abroad, Sam would occasionally come to visit me. We've always been friends. During this time, Sam got married and divorced, with a daughter of his own by his side. When my daughter grew up and my parents started feeling homesick, I brought them all back to our original city. Buying a house, moving, it was all done by me, and when Sam found out, he came to help me. After everything was settled, I wanted to treat Sam to a meal. Sam and I enjoyed a delicious dinner together. As we were leaving the restaurant, he hinted with his eyes, "After all these years, have you never thought about finding a partner? Being alone is fine, simple." Once again, I turned down Sam. Remarriage isn't that easy. Time can only soothe the pain but can't give me the courage again. I had to apologize to Sam. As we walked back home together, passing over a bridge, I heard people arguing loudly from below. Upon listening closely, I froze. It was Lou's voice. I walked to the edge of the bridge and looked down, and indeed, there were two people living in the bridge tunnel. It was Lou and Donna. They looked like two beggars, sleeping among a pile of garbage, accusing and cursing each other. The words they used were so filthy that it made your ears feel dirty just by listening. I watched coldly for a while, then suddenly asked Sam, "Do you have a coin?" Sam handed me a 1 yuan coin. I threw the coin far towards Lou and Donna. The two immediately stopped arguing and went crazy trying to grab the coin. I burst into laughter, and Lou didn't even recognize my voice. He was still under the bridge, grinning with his yellow teeth. "How about a little more? This amount isn't even enough to buy a steamed bun." Before he could finish, Donna rushed over and slapped him. "Give me the money." The two started fighting again. I watched with great interest for a while, then left with Sam. On the way back home, I felt great. This is probably life, I thought. Lou probably will never know till the end that I once gave him a coin, just like feeding a beggar.